The galaxy had always known humanity as the kind ones, the strange death world species that chose to heal instead of conquer. The humans had sent fleets of aid ships when famines struck alien worlds. They had deployed medical stations in orbit around plague-ridden colonies. Their soldiers had fought and died protecting strangers they had no reason to care for. For centuries, the galaxy whispered that Earth was too soft, too naive and too kind, but that kindness became the shield that held together the fragile peace between alien empires. Then one day, it ended. The first sign came quietly, a single broadcast across the galactic network. It was not a plea, not a warning, only a simple cold statement. Earth is closed. Do not ask again. The voice was human but hollow. No warmth, no compassion, only finality at first. Many thought it was a mistake, a transmission error. But when alien trade ships approached Earth, they were turned away by Terran warships with weapons hot and shields raised. When ambassadors sent messages to the United Terran Council, none were answered. The galaxy felt something shift, something break. In the Great Hall of the Galactic Council, alien leaders gathered in confusion. The insectoid Zikril clicked their mandibles in panic. The scaled Rithari hissed about betrayal. The tall avian Sarah ruffled their feathers with unease. For hundreds of years, humanity had been their safety net, their rescuer, their silent guardian. Now it was gone. One counselor stood and shouted, "This must be a mistake. Humans do not abandon us, they never have." But the silence that followed crushed the hope in the room. Across distant stars, the evidence grew. Terran aid convoys that once patrolled the trade routes simply vanished. Medical frigates that once docked freely at alien ports now drifted silently near Earth. Their hulls blackened, their emblems repainted. Entire Terran fleets that had once escorted neutral vessels disappeared into unknown sectors. And for the first time, pirates roamed free, worlds burned, and no human ship came to help. Panic spread faster than fire. Aliens realized how much they had depended on Earth's endless mercy. On one border world, a desperate alien elder gathered his people as raiders attacked their cities. For decades, Terran Marines had been stationed nearby. But now the skies were empty when he lit the old Terran beacon. A signal once answered within hours, no help came. His last sight was the fire of raiders cutting through his home. His last thought was a question: why had humanity abandoned them? Back in the council chamber, messages poured in, cries for aid, reports of collapse, fleets of refugees begging for rescue. The alien councillors looked at one another in disbelief. Their pride gone, their fear growing. One whispered, "Without them, the galaxy falls," another muttered. "Perhaps they are punishing us," the council records. Now declassified, revealed something darker. Contracts, treaties and agreements that had always favored alien empires while draining Earth's resources. Documents where alien species mocked humans as simpletons. Too kind to resist, the truth cut deep. The galaxy had used humanity, and humanity had finally realized it. On Earth, no one spoke to outsiders. The blue planet turned its face inward, but from the dark edges of space, whispers spread. Alien scouts claimed to see Terran fleets gathering, massive ships with black hulls, new weapons mounted, their banners stripped of peace symbols, replaced with the image of a clenched steel fist. And though no message came, the meaning was clear. Humanity had stopped being kind, and something else was rising. The Galactic Council's unease turned to dread when alarms rang through the chamber. Holographic screens lit up with red warnings. An unknown vessel had entered orbit above the Council's homeworld. Councillors rushed to the windows of the Grand Hall. What they saw froze their blood. It was a Terran warship. But unlike any they had seen before, its hull was jagged black steel, glowing with crimson lines of energy. Its size dwarfed even the largest alien dreadnoughts. It moved silently, no transmissions, no banners of peace, only its presence casting a shadow across the city below. One councillor whispered, "They have come to remind us," another muttered in terror. "No, they have come to end us." As the ship hovered above the council world, its weapons powered but silent, The galaxy realized the truth. This was not a mistake, not a signal error. This was a warning. The kindness of humanity was gone, and what replaced it was something the galaxy had never faced before. The last kind gesture had been given, and it would never come again. And as the council stared at the silent warship above their world, hearts pounding, breath frozen, they all knew one thing. The galaxy would never be the same. The Terran warship, still silent, slowly rotated, revealing rows of weapons never before seen, each glowing like burning suns, all pointed directly at the council city. Whispers spread like poison across the stars. Every alien world repeated the same question. Why had humanity turned cold? The council claimed ignorance, the empires accused each other, but deep in the archives of forgotten treaties, the answer revealed itself. Humanity had been used again and again. Documents surfaced showing how alien powers had drained Earth's resources in the name of peace. Trade agreements forced Earth to pay more than others. Defense treaties demanded human soldiers die, while alien fleets stood back for centuries. The galaxy had mocked humanity's endless kindness, and now it had come to an end. In the halls of the Galactic Council, panic grew. The insectoid Zikril banged their claws against the table, their mandibles clicking. They were fools. They trusted us too much. The scaled Rithari hissed in frustration, and we mocked them for it. The feathered Sira lowered their heads in shame. Perhaps now we pay the price. But shame soon turned to fear when transmissions arrived from border colonies. Pirate fleets were raiding without fear. Alien civilians begged for help, screaming that without Terran patrols, they were defenseless. And for the first time, no Terran ships came. On one world, an alien ambassador stood before the human gates of a Terran embassy. His robes torn, his face marked with desperation, he shouted, "Please help us! Our colonies burn, our children starve. You cannot leave us like this." But the steel doors of the embassy did not open. Behind the narrow slit of a window, 2 Terran soldiers stood in black armor, their helmets hiding their faces, their rifles slung across their chests, their eyes cold through glowing visors for a moment. The ambassador thought they might speak, that they might step forward, but instead, one pressed a button and the massive steel doors slammed shut, leaving silence in the street, leaving the ambassador broken. Rumors grew darker. Fleets of Terran warships were seen moving not toward alien colonies, but away, gathering in hidden systems. Scouts swore they saw carriers with strange new weapons, destroyers with black hulls glowing with crimson veins, massive war banners stripped of peace emblems and replaced with a clenched steel fist. The galaxy realized humanity was preparing for something, but no one knew what. Across alien media, old broadcasts of human kindness played on loop. Terran soldiers pulling children from rubble. Terran doctors curing diseases that alien medicine could not touch. Terran fleets rushing into battles that were not their own. But now, those images looked like ghosts, haunting memories of a humanity that no longer existed. The galaxy felt the absence like a wound, a hole where safety used to be, and in that wound, fear spread. The alien empires tried to reach out, desperate messages sent to Earth, pleading for answers, offering apologies, but none were returned. In one council chamber, a Rithari general slammed his claws down, his voice shaking with fear. "We must send ships to Earth, force them to speak." But another shouted back, "Send ships to Earth! Are you mad? We have all seen the warship above our world. Do you wish to provoke an entire fleet?" The chamber fell silent. None dared challenge the Terrans, not now. Still, some believed humanity could be swayed, that their cold silence was only temporary. One bold alien ambassador begged for permission to land on Earth. He believed that if he could stand before the Terran Council, he could remind them of mercy. After days of tense waiting, his request was granted. His ship descended through Earth's atmosphere, past black steel fortresses and orbital cannons that followed his every move. He entered the great Terran chamber, a vast hall of steel and shadows, where human leaders sat in silence. Armored guards lined the walls. Their rifles humming, the ambassador stepped forward, his voice trembling. "Humanity, you cannot turn your back on us. Without you, we fall. Without you, the galaxy burns. He bowed low, his wings folding tight. We beg you, help us again. But no words came from the human council. Only silence. Then one human officer in black armor stepped forward. He looked down at the ambassador, his face hidden behind a visor. His voice cold and final. Kindness is gone. Now you stand alone. The ambassador fell to his knees, his heart breaking, as Terran guards escorted him out into the night. The council chamber across the galaxy erupted in fear when the report arrived. One alien shouted, "They will not help us." Another screamed, "We are doomed." Panic spread through the council, but in the shadows of their fear, no one noticed the silent transmissions slipping between Terran fleets. No one noticed the coded messages that read like plans. The galaxy thought humanity was retreating, but in truth, humanity was preparing. And then, the first real sign appeared in a quiet sector far from the core. Alien scouts reported an entire Terran armada gathering, hundreds of ships, war banners flying, engines burning like suns. They did not move to protect or defend. They did not answer hails, they only waited, silent and deadly, as if the galaxy itself was their prey. As the alien scouts transmitted their last images, the black outline of a Terran supercarrier loomed into view, its hull marked with a new symbol, an iron fist crushing a broken crown. The feed cut to static, and the galaxy finally understood. Humanity was not coming back to save them. Humanity was preparing to strike. The galaxy held its breath as the reports of the Terran fleet spread. For centuries, human ships had been symbols of hope, painted bright white, carrying emblems of peace. Their presence meant safety, but now the fleets that gathered in the dark void bore no such colors. Their hulls were black steel, jagged and sharp, glowing with crimson veins of energy that pulsed like blood through veins. Alien scouts whispered that the ships were alive, their engines burning cold and blue, their cannons lined with unfamiliar technology. The galaxy named them in hushed tones, the Silent Armada. From one hidden sector, the Armada waited, hundreds of carriers, destroyers, and dreadnoughts stood in formation without a sound. No broadcasts, no lights of peace, only silence. The silence was worse than threats, because it meant no one knew their plan. Alien worlds sent spy ships to observe, but none returned. Their last transmissions cut into static the moment they neared Terran space. Whispers grew that humanity was building weapons beyond imagination. And the galaxy trembled. In the Galactic Council chamber, fear was now constant. The insectoid Zakrill scratched their claws against the floor. Pacing in panic, the avian Sarah spoke in shrill tones. "They are waiting for something. They are not striking. They are preparing." The scaled Rithari bared their fangs. "We mocked them as caretakers. And now they sharpen their claws." Silence fell when one counselor asked, "If they no longer protect us, then who protects us from them?" No one had an answer. On frontier worlds, alien governors begged for Terran fleets to return. Their calls went unanswered. Pirates and raiders ruled the skies. While the Silent Armada remained motionless, their very stillness was a weapon. For every day they did not move, fear spread deeper. Civilians whispered that the humans had grown tired of kindness, that they were preparing for revenge. Every alien empire looked to its neighbors in suspicion, for they knew the truth. They had all used humanity's kindness. And now humanity remembered. A scout ship of the Sarah people dared to drift closer to the edge of the Terran fleet, its pilot shaking as he reported what he saw. Rows of massive carriers aligned like black towers, destroyers as sleek as blades, and then something else, something larger than anything the galaxy had ever seen. A ship the size of a small moon, its hull armored with jagged steel plates, energy pulsing in rivers of crimson across its surface. The pilot gasped as the ship rotated slowly, its engines casting shadows across his tiny vessel. "By the stars," he whispered. "They have built a weapon of worlds." His transmission cut, and his ship was never seen again. The galaxy now feared not only the silence, but the scale. Humanity had never shown their full strength. They had always hidden it behind peace fleets and aid ships. But now, piece by piece, the galaxy began to realize the truth. Earth had never been weak. Earth had only been holding back. And if they had built a fleet like this in secret, what else had they been hiding? Meanwhile, in the shadows of the Terran command halls, human officers in black armor gathered around holographic displays. Their faces grim, their voices cold, they did not speak of mercy. They spoke of strategy, targets and timelines. The fleet commanders gave no speeches of peace, only orders of war. The kindness was gone, and what replaced it was something the galaxy had never faced before. Human patience sharpened into vengeance. The alien council grew desperate. They sent another envoy, one of the bravest from the Zekrill. Armored in ceremonial gold, he demanded audience with the Terran High Command. He begged, "Name your price. We will pay, just do not unleash that fleet." The Terran commander who answered him was not moved. He stood tall in his black uniform, his voice like iron. "The price was trust, you spent it. Now you pay the debt," the envoy returned broken, his people hopeless. Days later, the galaxy's worst fear came true. The silent armada moved. The first Terran fleets vanished into hyperspace, their engines ripping open space like lightning. Alien sensors flared red across entire quadrants. No one knew where they were headed. Empires scrambled fleets. Border worlds armed their defenses, but it was too late. The humans had chosen their first target. Alien eyes widened as their capital sensors lit up. The black shadow of the Terran armada emerging from hyperspace right above their homeworld. Engines glowing like fire. Cannons turning toward the planet, and in that moment, the galaxy understood. The kindness of humanity was not returning. The vengeance of humanity had arrived. The alien empire prepared for war. Their capital world blazed with activity. Fleets of dreadnoughts and cruisers rose into orbit, their banners bright, their commanders boasting that humanity would never defeat them. They had fought countless wars, crushed countless rebellions. Their power was ancient and vast to them. Earth was still the soft caretaker, the too-kind death-world species that always gave instead of taking. They thought the humans would hesitate. They thought wrong. When the first Terran fleet arrived, silence ruled the skies. Black carriers and destroyers emerged from hyperspace like shadows, their hulls glowing with crimson veins, their engines roaring like thunder. Alien admirals laughed at the sight. They mistook the silence for weakness. "Fire!" one roared, and the skies lit with plasma. Missiles and beams. The alien fleet hurled its strength at the humans. The council watched from afar, their faces tight with fear and hope. Perhaps the humans would falter. Perhaps they would retreat. But then came the first shot. It was not wild. It was not desperate. It was precise. A single Terran rail cannon fired from a carrier at the edge of the battle. The projectile cut across space like lightning, piercing through shields that no weapon had ever broken. One alien dreadnought, the pride of their fleet, split open like glass. Burning into pieces, silence followed, and then the Terran armada moved as one. The humans unleashed their fury with terrifying control. Rail cannons roared, lasers burned with cold precision. Missiles tore through cruisers with mathematical accuracy. Entire squadrons of alien ships were shredded in minutes. Their formations collapsed. Their admirals screamed in disbelief, "Impossible!" Their weapons, they bypass everything. But there was no time to recover because the humans pressed forward. Each strike exact, each move designed to cripple. The battle was not chaos, it was execution. Then came the drop. From the black carriers, thousands of Terran Marines descended. Their armor black and sharp, their visors glowing red. They moved like shadows through the smoke, their dropships cutting through the sky. Alien soldiers on the ground scrambled to respond. But when the Terran Marines landed, the defense crumbled. Every human soldier was a predator. Trained, silent, relentless, their weapons cut through walls. Their formations unstoppable, and within hours, the alien capital was under siege. In the council chambers across the galaxy, alien leaders watched in horror. Live feeds showed Terran soldiers marching through burning streets. Banners of the alien empire torn down, Terran steel banners raised in their place. Civilians fled as fire rained from the sky, and over it all, the black silhouette of the silent armada hovered, untouched, unstoppable. One counselor whispered, "They do not come to help. They come to remind us of what we have done," another muttered. "This is not kindness. This is vengeance." But the most chilling moment was yet to come. As Terran Marines reached the alien palace, their commander stepped forward, his armor glowing in the firelight. He looked into the cameras broadcasting across the galaxy, and in a voice steady and cold, he said, "We gave you peace. You repaid us with betrayal. We gave you mercy. You mocked it. Now we give you truth. The age of your empires is over." His words echoed through every alien world, leaving silence and dread. On the ground, alien leaders begged for surrender. Their messages broadcast to Earth, "Please end this, we yield. We will sign any treaty you wish." But the Terran fleet did not reply. Their weapons still powered, their soldiers still advancing. Silence was worse than threats because it meant no mercy was coming. The galaxy realized that humanity was showing them something new, what war looked like when kindness was stripped away. In orbit, the largest Terran warship moved slowly into position, its weapons glowing like suns, targeting arrays locking onto the alien capital city below. Alien commanders screamed into their comms, "Stop them! Divert all power! Do something!" But nothing worked. Their fleets shattered, their armies broken, their shields failing. The planet below was helpless. The giant Terran warship charged its main cannon, energy building into a blinding sphere of crimson light. The power of a star compressed into a weapon. The alien capital below shook as alarms screamed. Civilians looked up into the skies in terror, and the last thing the Council saw on their broadcast was the cannon firing, a beam tearing downward toward the heart of the Empire. The beam struck like the hand of a god. The alien capital shook as the main cannon's crimson light carved through its defenses. Shields collapsed in seconds, towers crumbled, entire districts turned to molten fire. The heart of the Empire, once untouchable, burned under the gaze of the Terran warship, yet the humans did not fire again. They let the smoke rise, they let the galaxy watch. It was not destruction, it was a warning. One shot was enough to remind every empire that the age of kindness was over. In the Galactic Council chamber, chaos erupted. Leaders shouted over one another, their voices filled with panic. The insectoid Zikril pounded their claws. "They have destroyed a capital. They will destroy us all." The feathered Sarah shrieked, "We must beg for peace," while the scaled Rithari hissed, "Peace!" with predators who no longer speak. They want obedience, not peace. The great hall shook with fear. Never had the Council felt so powerless. Never had they seen one fleet bend empires with silence. A desperate motion was passed. They demanded an audience with the Terran envoy, once known as the bridge between Earth and the galaxy. Weeks of silence followed before the request was answered. And when it was, the galaxy trembled. A single Terran envoy arrived at the council hall, not dressed in the white robes of peace as in the past, but clad in black armor trimmed in steel, his helmet under his arm, his eyes cold. His presence alone silenced the chamber. The council spoke first. A trembling Sera delegate raised his wings. "Humanity, we ask you to reconsider. You were always merciful, always just. You saved us, you healed us. Why turn from us now?" The human did not respond, his gaze sharp as a blade. Then the Zikril counselor banged his claws. "Name your price. Tell us what you want." The envoy finally spoke, his voice steady, his words striking like hammers. "The price was trust. And you spent it, the price was honor. And you broke it, the price was kindness. And you mocked it, humanity has nothing left to sell." The chamber froze. The words heavier than any weapon. The envoy turned his back and walked away, the doors closing behind him with a slam that echoed through every heart in the room. The message was clear. Humanity was not negotiating. Humanity was not bargaining. Humanity was done. Outside the council windows, shadows loomed. The Terran fleet had arrived. A wall of black steel blotting out the stars. Hundreds of ships in formation, carriers, destroyers, and the massive warship that had burned the alien capital. Their presence was overwhelming. Silent and suffocating, the councillors stood frozen, staring through the glass as if staring into the jaws of death. Across the galaxy, fear spread faster than fire. Worlds whispered that humanity had become unstoppable. Merchants refused to travel. Soldiers deserted their posts. Empires closed their borders, but still, the humans moved. Their fleets advanced from system to system, not conquering outright, but showing their power, their silence, their ability to burn entire capitals with a single shot. The galaxy had no defense against fear itself. In secret halls, some empires plotted rebellion, whispered alliances against Earth, but no plan survived the truth. No one trusted each other. For centuries, they had leaned on humanity to protect them. Now, without Earth's kindness, they only had suspicion. No unity, no strength, only fear. And fear was exactly what the humans wanted. The Council tried one final attempt. They sent a message directly to Earth, broadcast across every channel, a plea from all empires. We are sorry, we repent. We will rebuild trust. We will follow your guidance. Only give us another chance. The message traveled across the void, but Earth never replied instead. The signal was intercepted, replaced with a chilling broadcast. The image of a human commander standing before the burning alien capital. His words sharp as steel. You begged for our kindness. You spent it. You begged for our mercy. You wasted it. Now you beg for our silence. And silence is all you will have. The broadcast ended, leaving the galaxy in stunned silence. No apology mattered, no words mattered. Humanity had already chosen their path, and the path was war. As the councillors argued in despair, alarms suddenly rang through the chamber. The walls shook, and outside the vast windows, the Terran fleet began to move into attack formation. The largest warship's cannons glowing once again, this time not pointed at an empire's capital, but directly at the Galactic Council's homeworld itself. The Galactic Council's homeworld trembled under the shadow of Terran cannons. Yet the humans did not fire. The massive fleet remained silent, their presence alone enough to break the pride of the galaxy's rulers. And while the Council froze in fear, something far more dangerous spread through the stars: rebellion. For centuries, entire species had been forced to kneel under alien empires, taxed until their worlds starved, enslaved in mines and factories, treated as little more than tools. They had endured because humanity's kindness always offered them some protection, a balance in the darkness. But now, with kindness gone and Terran fleets whispering vengeance, those chains began to break. It started on the slave world of Korath, a mining colony ruled by the Rithari, its people beaten and starved. But when the skies lit up with the silhouette of a Terran dropship, everything changed. The black vessel did not land openly. It dropped containers from orbit, strange crates marked with the Iron Fist emblem. The slaves cracked them open and found weapons, Terran rifles, Terran armor, Terran tools of war. The message was clear: rise. The overseers tried to stop it, but the rebellion spread like wildfire. The slaves, long broken, rose with fury, armed with Terran steel. They drove their masters into retreat. Within days, the mines burned with freedom's fire. The Rithari Empire broadcasted the news in horror, but in hidden channels, millions of enslaved species cheered. Humanity had shown them something far more powerful than kindness. It had shown them how to fight. Across the galaxy, rebellion after rebellion erupted. The Sarah's subject worlds threw off their chains. The Zekril's labor colonies turned their machines into weapons. Every system that had once relied on Terran mercy now carried Terran rifles, Terran bombs, Terran courage. The galaxy thought humanity was punishing rulers, but in truth, humanity was igniting revolutions. Empires that had stood for thousands of years collapsed in weeks. In the council chamber, alien leaders shouted in despair, "They are arming the slaves. They are tearing the galaxy apart." The insectoid Zekril slammed their claws. "We must strike back now or our empires will crumble." But the feathered seer spoke with shaking voices. How? Their fleets blot out the stars, their soldiers move like shadows, even their silence defeats us. The scaled Rithari hissed with bitterness. We built our thrones on their kindness, and now they break us with our own weakness. On the ground, Terran operatives moved in secret, black-armored marines landing in the night, training rebels, guiding them, and then vanishing before alien patrols arrived. Whispers spread that Terran shadow fleets existed only to free the oppressed. The galaxy realized the truth. Humanity was not conquering through force. It was conquering through rebellion, each empire devoured from within. Each chain shattered by Terran hands. One alien emperor, once proud, now desperate, sent a direct message to Earth, his voice trembling. We yield, we repent, call back your rebels, stop the blood. But the message never reached Earth. It was intercepted by Terran command. Deleted without answer, the Emperor wept in silence. For he knew the humans were not listening. The humans had already chosen to let the galaxy burn itself. Meanwhile, across thousands of systems, alien civilians carried banners with the Iron Fist emblem, chanting for freedom, praising the humans who had given them weapons. Some painted Terran symbols on their walls. Others built shrines to the fallen Terran soldiers who once protected them. Fear had turned to worship, worship had turned to revolt, and revolt had turned to war. The Galactic Council finally realized that this was worse than invasion. Because humanity did not need to conquer with fleets, humanity only needed to light the fire, and the galaxy would destroy itself. One counselor muttered, "They are patient predators. They do not hunt with teeth, they hunt with silence." And when the fleet outside powered its weapons again, the counselors fell into terrified silence, waiting for the end. As the Terran fleet loomed over the council homeworld, a massive transmission spread across every screen in the galaxy. The face of a Terran commander appeared, his voice calm and merciless. Your chains were your choice, your weakness was your choice. Now your rebellion is ours, and behind him, the shadow of a new Terran superweapon flickered into view, larger than any seen before. A warship the size of a moon, engines glowing red as it prepared to move. The galaxy was breaking apart. Faster than anyone imagined, empires that had ruled for thousands of years fell within months. Their armies crushed not only by Terran fleets, but by their own slaves, rising with Terran weapons. Trade routes collapsed, star systems declared independence. Entire sectors burned in chaos. Everywhere the Iron Fist emblem of humanity appeared, painted on walls, carved into ships, carried as banners of rebellion. It was no longer a galaxy of empires. It was a galaxy of fire. The Galactic Council tried to hold order, but their words meant nothing. Their own guards no longer obeyed. Their own fleets deserted. Fear spread too deep, trust shattered. Each empire accused the other of betrayal, but all of them knew the truth. They had betrayed humanity first, and now they were paying for it, one counselor cried. We begged for their mercy and they gave us silence. We begged for their silence and they gave us rebellion. What will they give us next? No one answered. On the frontier worlds, civilians no longer feared their old rulers. They feared something else. The black silhouettes of Terran fleets hanging in their skies, silent, unmoving, their presence like predators watching from the dark. Sometimes they gave weapons, sometimes they gave nothing, but their message was always the same. The old order was dead, and humanity would decide what came after. In orbit around a ruined empire capital, Terran soldiers walked through ashes, their black armor glowing red in the fires, their boots crushing the banners of fallen rulers. One soldier looked up at the sky, where the silent armada hovered like gods. He spoke into his comm, his voice cold. Sector secured. Await further orders. The aliens who watched trembled, for they knew the humans had not come to rebuild. They had come to remind, in hidden meetings. The last surviving emperors begged one another for unity. They spoke of forming a grand fleet, combining their strength to strike at Earth, but suspicion destroyed them before the humans even needed to act. Each feared betrayal, each remembered centuries of old wars. No one trusted, no one dared lead, and so their plans rotted while humanity grew stronger. Meanwhile, in the shadows of Terran High Command, human leaders studied maps of burning star systems. They did not smile, they did not celebrate. Their voices steady and ruthless. They called us weak, they called us naive. Now they will call us rulers. Fleets moved without pause. Shadow operatives whispered into rebel ears. New weapons spread like seeds. Humanity was shaping the galaxy, one broken empire at a time. Whispers spread of the Terran moonship, the warship so vast that it eclipsed stars. Some said it carried cannons strong enough to shatter planets. Others swore it was a mobile fortress, capable of building fleets from its own hull. No alien scout who approached it ever returned, only fragments of transmissions. Shadows of something too large to comprehend. The galaxy feared it. And that fear spread faster than any weapon on the Council homeworld. The leaders sat in silence, watching their galaxy crumble. Their own words meaningless, their own people losing faith, one councillor whispered. Perhaps this is justice, another muttered. No, this is extinction. They turned to the stars outside, where Terran fleets hung like vultures waiting to strike, and they knew the choice was no longer theirs. But the most terrifying truth was spoken in hushed tones among civilians across every world. What happens when the humans finish with the empires? What happens when there are no more chains to break, no more rulers to burn? No one dared answer, because the only answer was fear. Deep in the black void, the Terran moonship finally moved, engines burning like dying suns. Its massive hull casting shadows across entire systems, alien long-range sensors lit up in panic. Broadcasting across the galaxy, the Terran superweapon is on the move. Its course locked not on a single empire, but on the Galactic Council's homeworld itself. As terrified councillors looked to the sky, the stars began to vanish behind the steel of the warship. The Galactic Council's homeworld was drowning in shadows. The Terran moonship had arrived, its colossal hull blocking the stars, its engines burning red across the sky like false suns. Every tower, every street, every council chamber shook under its gravity. The galaxy had seen Terran fleets. It had seen Terran strikes. But nothing prepared them for this. A warship the size of a moon. A weapon built not for defense, not for mercy, but for dominance. Inside the council chamber, fear silenced the once proud rulers. No shouting, no demands, only trembling voices. The insectoid Zikril muttered, "This is the end," the feathered Sarah whispered. "Perhaps if we kneel, they will spare us," the scaled Rithari hissed with bitterness. "Spare us? They burned our capitals, armed our slaves, toppled our thrones. They did not come for surrender. They came for judgment. Outside, the skies swarmed with Terran fleets, carriers, destroyers, and black-armored strike craft in perfect formation. The sound of their engines was like thunder rolling across the atmosphere. Alien civilians fled into shelters. Children cried as the ground shook. All eyes turned upward to the moonship, its massive cannon towers glowing brighter, charging with the power of a sun. In secret, the last surviving empires broadcast a single, desperate message, sent across every channel. Their voices united in fear. "Humanity, stop this. We will obey. We will kneel. Only spare the galaxy from ruin." But the only reply came not from Earth, but from the warship itself. A colossal projection filled the skies. The face of a Terran commander in black armor, his voice calm and merciless. "You begged for our kindness. You mocked it, you begged for our mercy. You wasted it, now you beg for your lives. And we do not listen." The councillors broke into panic. Some screamed for evacuation. Others begged to send envoys, but it was too late. The humans were already in orbit, their armies waiting in dropships, their cannons aimed at the heart of the galaxy's politics. For centuries the Council had ruled with arrogance, but now their power meant nothing. Every empire broken, every fleet shattered, every slave world burning with rebellion. The galaxy had no choice left. Terran marines deployed through the skies, black dropships cutting through clouds, their armor glowing crimson, their rifles humming with energy. They landed on the council world like predators among prey, moving without fear, without hesitation. Alien soldiers tried to resist, but their weapons failed against Terran steel. Formations crumbled, lines broke, and soon the streets of the council capital echoed with the march of human boots. In the chamber, the councillors fell to their knees, their pride gone, their eyes wide with terror as the great doors opened, and human marines stepped inside, rifles raised, visors glowing red. Their commander walked forward, helmet under his arm, his gaze sharp and unforgiving. He looked upon the galaxy's rulers and spoke in a voice steady as steel. The age of the council is finished. Humanity does not ask. Humanity decides. The words carried across the galaxy in live broadcasts. Civilians, soldiers, rebels and rulers alike watched as the humans claimed authority. Some wept, some cheered, most trembled, for they knew nothing would ever be the same. The galaxy that once mocked humanity's kindness now knelt under its shadow. But even as the Marines secured the chamber, the greatest terror still waited above. The moonship's main cannon glowed brighter, its core pulsing with crimson light, energy building beyond comprehension. Alarms wailed across the council world. Alien civilians screamed. The sky burned red as the weapon locked onto the planet. This was not a raid, not a threat. This was annihilation waiting to fall, the councillors begged, their voices breaking. Please, not this. We surrender, we yield, we... The Terran commander raised his hand. The cannon above reached full power, the light of a star burning in its heart. And with the galaxy watching in silence, the question hung in the void. Would humanity fire, or would they force the galaxy to live forever in fear of that one final shot?